have this vivid memory of sitting in the bathtub one time and just crying.
I think I punched my dad once.
You're not in charge of me right now. Like, you just won't leave me alone.
I had an epidural in my back, so I couldn't move very well.
She just wanted me to keep pushing and keep going.
Everybody had one. Like, if you didn't have one, you were looked down upon.
This is a show where teenagers share their experiences growing up in today's world. I'm your host, Dr. RJ, and this is A Teen's Perspective. Hello and welcome to A Teen's Perspective, helping parents see the future. I'm your host, Dr. RJ, and in this episode, I want to do something different. Oftentimes, parents ask me about life coaching for their teenagers. They are curious to know what life coaching is about. And sometimes teenagers ask me about what it's like to be coached. So for this episode, I would like to share with you one of my group coaching calls. In this coaching session, we're going to discuss how your thoughts influences your emotions and how your emotions influence your actions. So make sure you hang around to the end, and I hope you enjoy. The last time that we spoke, I actually met with each one of you individually. So we got a chance to really talk about level one. So let's jump into level two energy. Whoever want to go first, share with me what you know about level two energy.
It's basically conflict energy. Like, I win, you lose.
Yeah. So let's look at this past week and share with me some examples of some of the level two you guys experienced.
At level two, I was angry this weekend because I couldn't go skating. And it's like, I wanted to go, but I couldn't. So I was just mad the whole weekend.
Yeah, that's a great example. Let's dive into that a little bit. So essentially, you asked your parents, can you go skating? And then they just told you no.
Yeah.
Now, what was the reasoning for them to tell you no?
Because of Corona. And it was like, it's too soon.
Oh, I see. Okay. So what were your thoughts about that?
I was like, y'all not wrong, but everybody else is going. It's like, why can't I go?
Yeah. So it sounds like they're concerned about your safety, right? But then on your end of things, it's like, wait a minute, I appreciate the concern, but I want to go have fun.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as they told you no, you were upset, right? But then you made the comment that you were upset the whole weekend. So explain that to me.
Because I usually go skating Friday and Saturday. So to not go skating them days was just like me being at home bored on the weekend is not usual. I'm usually out. So it was frustrating. Yeah,
that makes sense. Share with me other things that occurred that weekend. So you're already mad with the skating, but share with me other things that bothered you that made you upset during the time.
I had braids in. I had to take my hair out. And that took like 2 hours. And I was just mad because braids take too long to take out. And I was just sitting there for too long. I was irritated, really irritated.
You say you had to take them out, or is it something you wanted to do?
I had to take them out.
Oh, okay, because your parents wanted you to take them out as well?
Nah, I was getting tired of them. Like, my hair is long, so they kept getting in my eye. So I was like, all right, it's time for these to go.
Got it. It makes sense. And have you ever went through this process before, as far as getting your hair taken out?
Yes.
And when was the last time you got your hair taken out?
Last time I had braids was like a long time ago, like I think my sophomore year.
Okay, so sophomore year. So do you remember how you felt that time when you were getting your braids out?
I don't think it was as frustrating this time because last time I remember it being more easy, but this time took entirely too long.
What are you doing like when someone is taking your braids out?
I take them out myself, but I just go into a bathroom or something and I look in the mirror to help me to see where I can take them out at.
Okay, so give me another situation that happened this weekend where you found yourself upset as well.
I'm not really a person that gets mad easily over things. It takes a lot to get me mad over things.
The reason why I was asking those questions is because usually, and you're going to find this out with the whole like levels of energy, is that whenever you are in a level, right, you're going to notice that it starts to spill over to other things. So you were initially upset about skating.
Yes.
And it made you upset. So that's level two energy for sure. Well, then you're going to find yourself just more irritated in general. It's like if you're already upset, then other things become irritable. Like perfect example, getting your braids taken out. You're upset, right? You said it because it took too long, but deep down, it was probably because you were already in level 2 energy. Had your parents let you go skating and you had an amazing time on Friday, then whenever you went to take your hair out, you probably wouldn't have been as upset, even though it took a long time. You probably would have been like listening to some music. You probably would have been thinking about how much fun you had Friday and how much fun you're going to have again. Does that make sense of how the levels kind of connect and spill over to other areas?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Your turn. So give me some examples of level 2.
Like any example?
Anything you can come up with. It could be small. It could be big.
When the band directors took my solo away from me this year.
Oh, okay. And when did that happen?
Like in the fall.
Oh, back in the fall.
But it was a big deal to me.
Can you give me an example of something that happened this week?
Probably the fact that I got a grade I didn't want to on a quiz that I was taking for summers.
Oh, I see. You were taking summer classes and you had a quiz and you did not do well on the quiz.
Not as well as I wanted to do on the quiz.
So walk me through the level 2 thoughts that you were having.
The fact that I thought I knew all the answers. And then when I looked at the score guide, I was like, oh my gosh, I knew I got everything right. And usually when I think I get everything right, I'm like, they must have made a mistake somehow. But then I look back at myself and I'm like, probably isn't it. And then I start getting mad at myself and at the questions and the wording they gave us.
You said you got mad at yourself and the questions. Because remember, level 2 is blaming, right? So that's going to make you upset. If you start to blame someone, it's going to make you mad. Or even blaming yourself, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't think I studied to where I needed to get the grade that I wanted.
Yeah. And how soon did you come to that realization?
Probably before I took the quiz.
Okay, so you went in it thinking like, man, I did not study as hard as I should have.
The fact that like I already knew the information beforehand, and I was like, yeah, I got this. And then I came out of the quiz like, maybe I should have studied more, but I was thinking that before. Because what if they hit us with like some weird questions or something that I can't explain,
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. Walk me through the thoughts as soon as you get your grade. So you got your grade, you looked at it. Share with me some of those words that you could hear. Because, essentially our thoughts it's almost like someone is talking, right? Like we don't necessarily know who's talking, but sometimes it's our thoughts that we create, but other times thoughts kind of pop in our head. So share with us some of those level 2 thoughts that you were having.
I also found out that a classmate of mine only got one wrong. And it was only because she second guessed herself. And I was just like, why? I was so mad. I was like, how did that happen? So I was basically mad because I didn't study enough or because they worded the questions to where it was kind of confusing. And it could have been like 3 answers. And then they gave us like, choose one or none or all that apply. And it was like, why is this even here? I dreaded it. But I know next time to study.
Tell me, how long were you mad?
I wasn't mad that long because my grade could have been worse.
Okay, so I wanted you to catch that. The goal is, we know that there are advantages and disadvantages to all levels of energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've discussed level 1. And my guess is if you didn't do well on the test, you probably experienced some level 1 as well. It probably wasn't straight level 2. It probably was a little bit of level 1 and you went to level 2. But remember, whenever we're thinking about levels of energy, you're going to flow in and out of the different levels constantly, right? So as I mentioned, you probably like saw your score and immediately you went to level 1, like, man, like, oh my gosh, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough, right? And then you went to level 2, got mad, and was like, how did she do well on this? And these questions are stupid. So that's like level 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then the good news is you told me you didn't stay mad for long. And the reason you didn't stay mad was because you went to level 3, which you're going to learn next week. But level 3 is rationalization. Say again, what did you tell yourself that helped you feel better?
Probably I got a pretty good grade compared to what others got. Not saying that I've compared myself, but like I could have done a lot worse than if I didn't have that.
That's definitely comparing. Definitely comparing yourself. What are you talking about? I'm not comparing myself.
I'm trying to get away from comparing myself.
The rest of those. No, I'm just giving you a hard time.
I have to work on that comparison. But like maybe the fact that I'm glad I have that prior knowledge to where I could have done good in this test, because if I didn't, I probably wouldn't have gotten the okay grade I got.
Yeah. And you also made the statement when I first asked you, you made the statement that I will study next time, so I'm going to do better, right? So immediately when you shift and say to yourself, next time I'm going to do better, what does that do? Remember, like the whole triangle, it started with the thought, I'm going to do better next time. All of a sudden now this anger that you're feeling changed. You start to feel more relieved, I guess, and maybe even determined because you know you're going to work hard next time. And guess what that's going to do? That's going to influence your action. So maybe you will study next time, right? Now imagine if you stayed in level 2 consistently. So say, for instance, you were mad at yourself and you were mad at the teacher for asking those questions, those weird questions, right? So if you continue with level 2, then what would the actions be? Probably not much. You probably wouldn't even look at yourself and say, I'm going to study hard. You'd probably be like, I'm going to complain to the teacher about his questions, or I'm going to just not even try hard. If he's going to ask stupid questions, then I'm just not going to try. So that's the thing about these levels of energy. Your thoughts will create an action. And that's what we want to focus on, because actions is what's going to help us achieve our goals. So I'm going to go back to on this one. So share with me the thought that you had that kind of helped you get past your level 2 energy about the skating. I mean, you may not be past it yet, so maybe we can work on that. But if you're still mad about it, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I'm most definitely still mad about it. But I was just thinking, because when she said that I couldn't go skating and it was too soon, she was like, just give it a couple of weeks and then we'll see what happens. And then so I just used that, like, all right, I'll be in there. I'll be up there soon enough. I just got to wait, be patient. So just do some other things.
That's it. Yeah, that's level 3. You're going to learn about that. So we're done. Level 1 and level 2 are the energy levels that's full of catabolic energy. As you remember about catabolic versus anabolic, catabolic is not bad, right? Like we don't call energy bad. Catabolic is just more destructive. And at times we need catabolic energy. Like in you guys' assignments, you put it. Like if you need to break a window to get out of a burning building, or maybe you're playing basketball and you need to get really hyped up and you want to have some rage when you go out there because you play harder, whatever. The point is, it's not necessarily bad. It's just very destructive, which means you can't stay in these levels of energy for a long time because then it starts to hurt other areas of your life. So with Brian, that's a perfect example of a higher level of energy. You're like, hey, my mom said, give it some more time. I'm going to be hopeful that in a couple of weeks, things will be better and I can go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you wanted to take it a higher level than what you thought about, and we're going to get into it in the next few weeks, because level 3, as I mentioned, is rationalization. You're saying, hey, you know what? It's basically looking on the brighter side of things, right? Like looking for that silver lining. Say, you know what? My mom, I get it. She's worried about me and she told me that possibly I can go skating in 2 weeks. So you know what? I understand it. That's rationalizing your mind. You're kind of rationalizing, even though deep down you don't agree with it, but you're rationalizing it because you want to feel better. You want to move forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you made the statement that you still are angry about it, even with the rationalization.
Yeah, I'm still a little heated about it.
So if you find yourself still upset, even though you rationalize, because remember, these level of energies, we flow in and out of them. So you're like 3 and then you drop down to 2 when you think about it, right? Like when you think about like what you missed out on, you probably go to number 2. Maybe you drop down to level 1 sometimes, but mainly 2. And then you're probably going to flow up to 3 again later. But I'm going to give you a way to not be level 2. So as we started this entire levels of energy, the whole goal of levels of energy, and the reason why we're even sharing this with you is what? What do you guys think that is? 2 words.
To learn how to deal with situations, I guess.
Yeah, essentially, it's 2 words. So it's success and happiness. So essentially, I want you to be happy, right? And there's a lot of advantages to being happy. We've had studies on it. Happiness is a great place to be, right? And plus, everybody wants to be happy. You know, just as a human, you want to be happy. But success, you want to achieve things that you want. Like, in other words, if you have a want, you want to get it. Because if you get what you want, many times you feel happy. Or if you get what you want, it helps you reach more of your potential. So that's really what's going to help you if you're upset, you know, you're level 2 about the skating. We need to focus on how then to get you skating, because that's going to make you happy, right?
Yeah.
And you don't even need to go to level 3, because level 3 is rationalization. So what I'm going to tell you is we're skipping ahead, but I think it's okay for right now, is level 5. That's one of the highest levels you can go is level 5. And level 5 is win-win. Anytime you can create a win for yourself and a win for the person that you are wanting something from, you're going to be successful. You're going to get a yes for sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you think about this situation, how then can you get a win-win? First, when you're deciding about a win-win, you need to understand what it is they want and what you want. So it sounds very clear to me you want to skate.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think your mom wants?
She wants me to be safe, so I could try to convince her, like, the skating rink, before you go in, they'll check your temperature. And if you have like a certain temperature, they won't let you in. So you got to go through that, have a face mask and everything. You got to put hand sanitizer on. So I could try to convince her, if you let me go, I'll be safe. I'll wear extra clothing if that helps. I'll wear the face mask, the temperature check, and hand sanitizer and all that. And so just try to convince her.
Absolutely. That's level 5. You know, that's it. You get what you want, you get to go. And then your mom get what she wants, you're safe. So usually when you start thinking level 5, what changes? So first of all, let me ask you the question, with that thought in your mind, how are you feeling about it? Like, how do you feel right now?
If that happened, I would feel happy. If I could go and she agreed to it, I would feel very happy.
What I noticed just from you coming up with the answer when I asked you, hey, what do your mom want? I can tell you started to get energized. It's almost like you started to get motivated because you thought of this idea that, you know, maybe there is a way that you can go.
Yeah, because every time I think about it, I'd be like, maybe I can reconvince it. And so I just start smiling and getting happy. Like, what did she say yes to?
Yeah, that's it. And guess what that does? When you're happy, so you start to think in your mind, okay, maybe let me figure out a win-win. Let me help her see that I'm going to be safe. Now you start getting motivated. You start getting excited. And guess what's going to be your action?
To go tell her.
You're going to talk to her, right? Like, you're going to sit down and talk to her. And if she says no, then what is your action again? Well, let me go get down to the research. You know, Mom, what is your concern? Well, I don't want you to get COVID. Okay, Mom, I just told you, hand sanitizer. I would change clothes, right? Like, so I won't even bring the clothes back into the house that I wore to go skating. I'm going to wear a mask the whole time, right? So what are your concerns, Mom? Well, you know, I think you still can get it if you're wearing a mask. Well, that's when you pull out the information. Okay, well, let's look at the CDC website, right? Like, they're going to tell us exactly how you get COVID. And then you can write, you know, some of them may be educating her because you see things on the news, but the CDC website is the official information that we have about how to stay safe. And me as an orthodontist, I know those. And I think what you're saying is absolutely right. You know, we see patients in my orthodontic practice every single day. I mean, Monday through Friday. And guess what? Some of them have COVID. But guess what? None of us has gotten COVID because we're following exactly what the CDC guidelines are. We're wearing a mask. We're wearing eye covers, you know, because we're actually working in our mouth. We don't want any kind of spit to fly up. We're changing our clothes. So the clothes that I bring home are not the clothes that I wear going to the office, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're washing our hands. We're using hand sanitizer. And guess what? It works because none of our staff has gotten COVID. And we're in Texas, where right now we're all in the spotlight because we're one of the first states to open up. And our cases are like skyrocketing. But yet we're still open. We're still seeing patients. And we're still staying safe because we're following those guidelines. So for your mom, it may be just education. Now, imagine if you were level 1. So let's walk through that. So you could pitch in too with this. If is level 1, right? And his mom says, hey, you're not going to the skating ring. Level 1 would be basically you being upset, going to your room, pouting, crying, whatever, and just feeling like there's no hope. You won't even convince her. You won't even try to be mad because you're like, it's pointless, right? My mom said no, I'm just giving up. That's level 1. Now, if you felt that way, guess what your action would be?
Just not talk to her. Just
You wouldn't do anything. Right. You just accept it. Just like, you know what? At the end of the day, this sucks. I just can't do anything about it. So I'm just wallow in my sorrow. I mean, that's essentially what level 1 is. I'm just have a pity party, right?
yeah.
So then a higher level than that is level 2. Why is level 2 higher than having a pity party and crying and kind of just staying bottled up? Why is level 2 better than level 1 in a sense in this case?
Because it's more like, all right, let me stop sitting around here sad and mad, and let me try to actually do something about it, or let me at least find out a way.
Yes, essentially level 2 could lead to some action, right? Because you're mad. So level 2 in this case would be, my mom is so mean. I'm mad at her. I'm not going to talk to her. I can't believe she did this to me. And every time you guys see each other, you're mean to her. That's level 2. That's conflict, right? That's better than level 1. Why is that? Because at least when you get to level 2, you want to stand up for yourself. You want to be like, wait a minute, there's nothing wrong with going to the skating ring, right? I'm not saying it's the best level to be, but it's better than you crying in your room and starting to feel sorry for yourself. Because at least you're trying to say, wait a minute, nothing is wrong with me. My mom needs to change her mind, right? And I'm not saying that's going to go over well, so I don't recommend level 2 with your parents by any means. At least, because it sounds like if your parents are like my parents, level 2 is not going to get you far at all, right? They're not going to have it. So level 3 is better because you're like, okay, maybe my mom, she really wants me to be safe. So I get it, okay? So I'm accepted, right? I'm not going to ask her to go to the skating ring just because I know she wants me to be safe. That's definitely better than level 1 and level 2 in this situation. I say better because of this situation, because ultimately you want to maintain a relationship with the parents. You don't want to start fighting with them, and you don't want to start fighting with yourself at level 1. So level 3 is good. But hey, if you jump up to level 5, now you may be able to get to go, and your mom is feeling comfortable because she knows you're going to be safe.
Yeah.
All right? Perfect.
I might go on that website.
Yes, the CDC website. Yeah. I would definitely, go there and maybe show her, like, hey, these are the guidelines, right? And this is what I'm going to follow. And then definitely tell about the temperature, because that's what we do in my office. We check the temperature. We ask the patients, hey, have you been in contact with somebody with COVID? They'd be like, nope. Okay, let me take a temperature. Bam, your temperature looks good. You have no fever. You're not coughing, right? You're not sneezing. Come on in. I would definitely share that with my mom. So do you see like how level 3 works? You see how, that these levels of energy, there's advantages to them that can help you get what you want.
Yes, sir.
So my question to you guys is, so far you know about level 1, you know about level 2, you know a little bit about level 3 and even less about level 5, because I just brought it up, but you're going to learn over the next weeks or so. My question to you is, how do you get to choose it, right? Like, why won't you just stay in level 5 all the time?
Because certain things happen, and then those things, depending on how big or small they are, they might affect your mood, and it might affect your mood so much that you fall down to other levels.
Yeah, that's right.
You can try to keep level 5 all the time, but I don't think that's possible. Well, I don't know. It might be.
What do you think?
I think that's right, because your mood always change. You can't always have the same emotion like all the time. So therefore your thought process is going to change, and therefore your level are going to move in and out. You're going to move in and out of levels.
Yeah, you're right. As you move up the levels, you have a higher chance of getting what you want, being successful, being happy at the higher levels of energy. Because we know that you can get things you want being a level 1. That makes sense? Because think about it, as a level 1, perfect example, I broke both of my wrists on Monday. Level 1 will get me what? What's an advantage of level 1 that I get now that my wrists are broken?
Attention.
Yes, that's it. Attention. And people do things for me, right? So I'm in my office and, my assistants, they kind of feel bad for me. So they're getting me water and all this stuff. It's just one of the advantages of level 1. It's not like I want to be a level 1. Like, it's not like I'm sitting here crying about my wrist. In fact, I'm not level 1 at all about my wrist. But my assistants, they see me, they're assuming I'm level 1, and they just want to just make me feel better, right? Like my wife is the same thing. My wife is doing everything for me. But me being the person I am, I can't really be helpless. So I find a way to get things done myself. My point I'm trying to say is that's an advantage. Level 1 is an advantage. You get attention. People do things for you. But long term, that is not going to give me what I want. when you have to rely on someone else, that's really not a way of getting everything you want. So that's why we want to go to the higher levels of energy. The higher levels is, listen, my wife is like, hey, you're taking care of me. Well, I want to do something for you. And, so that's more of a higher level of energy. And we can get more that way. So my final question to you guys today is, how can you then, since you just explained it to me, sometimes something happens and you just fall down to a lower level. How do you switch to a higher level?
If something bad happens, I say you try to think of more positive ways or different ways to like better your mood. Like go talk to somebody that can help, or go do something you like, listen to music, go do an activity, just to do anything that you feel like that would lift your mood. Or yeah.
What about you?
Maybe to compromise, like figure out something in your head, a way that you could change yourself from being at a level 1 or a level 2 to possibly get out of that mindset of that, like of irritation and hatred or pity, and change it into something else.
That's absolutely right. Both of you guys are right. You want to do whatever it's going to take, change your mindset. I know mentioned, do some actions that's going to help you feel better, like listen to music or do something, because, actions, remember the whole like triangle, actions then impact the thoughts. So that makes sense. Trying to think of ways to feel better, think positive thoughts, all that is accurate. So there's a term that we call that the moment that you come to that realization. So say, for instance, you're sad or mad. We're talking about level 2. So let's say you're mad. I'm going to use as an example. Okay, you got your test score. You're looking at it and immediately you're level 2, right? You probably went to 1 a little bit. Most people go to level 1 first, but yeah, you're probably right now at level 2. So the question is, there's a moment in your mind where you can choose to start thinking positively, or you can choose to go do an action that helps you feel better, right? We call that awareness. That's the name of it, is awareness. It's that moment in time where you all of a sudden move from this like robotic, almost like this natural process that's expected, and then you like stop it and say, wait a minute, I'm in control. So get your test score. And it's natural when you didn't get what you want to feel down. So naturally, you're like, oh man, I feel horrible, right? And then you went to level 2, like, oh no, I'm mad. Like, what kind of question was this guy or girl asking me? It's horrible. These stupid questions. That's level 2. This is all a natural process. So you're not even really thinking the way you're thinking now. Like right now, you're thinking like, oh, well, just think better, right? Like just think level 5. Like maybe there's a way for us to work with a teacher to change the questions. I don't know. But my point I'm trying to say is that you're like in this fog where you're just naturally reacting. You can't help it. You're a human. You're reacting, right? I know made the comment, is it possible to be at the higher levels all the time? As a human, we're very emotional creatures. It's very difficult to be constantly at a high level. You're going to have ups and downs. And honestly, there are advantages, as we discussed, of why you want to go lower. Because you're going to learn a disadvantage of level 3 next time. So you're feeling upset. You're in this fog. You're doing your natural motions. But at some point, something just clicks where you be like, wait a minute. I do not have to feel this way. I can feel better. Same thing with whenever his mom said, no, you're not going. I'm mad. Wait a minute. Maybe my mom will let me go, right? That moment is called awareness. You just be like, wait, maybe blank, whatever. That's how you switch the thought process in your mind. All right. So when you're going through this natural process of level 1 and level 2, the better you get at becoming aware, then the faster you're going to move into higher levels of energy, and the more you're going to get what you want. So, if you can remain in higher levels most of the time, then you're going to get everything you want in life. It's just that's how it works. You're going to. But the problem is a lot of times we do spend time in level 1 and level 2. So that's what we're going over these next weeks as far as our awareness. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So awareness is the key. So I want you guys to really think about that. So as you go into level 3 is important, because level 3 is going to teach you how to rationalize, to feel better. You can rationalize. Example would be, say, for instance, your friend didn't call you back. Or maybe you saw that your friend read your text message and they didn't respond, right? Rationalizing that thought would be, oh, maybe they were busy, or maybe they forgot to.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? That's rationalizing, because that makes you feel better. You're not mad. Because if you thought like, what, they ignored me, I'm mad, they're not my friend anymore, that's going to make you feel bad, right? You're going to be angry. But if you be like, oh, they were busy, I understand. They probably forgot, they were doing something, they forgot to text me back. It makes you feel good. It's like, okay, they're human. It's fine. So key is awareness. We're going to focus on that this week. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Perfect. You guys have any questions before we end the call?
No, sir.
How did you break your wrist?
Oh, that's a good question. I used to ride motorcycles, right? And I had a fast motorcycle. I mean, I got up to 200 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah. I think you told me.
That was my baby there, that motorcycle. But anyway, so I get in no wrecks, no injuries on my motorcycle, right? But I ride a bicycle and I get in an accident. I don't understand it. But in any case, I was riding around a corner and I had my little ones on my trailer. And as I hit this corner, the trailer like tipped and it like threw my bike off. And then I like fell off on the side and I landed on my wrist.
Dang.
Yep. That's what happened. But I was not level 1 for long. I want to say that initially when it happened, I was actually more like level 4, believe it or not. And we're going to talk about this. You don't know level 4 yet. But I was very concerned making sure my boys were okay. And they were fine. That was my own focus. And that's level 4. When you so much focus on the wants of others and the desires of others, you kind of neglect yourself in a sense. But that's where I was at. I was worried like my boy's okay. And they were worried I was fine. So then after that, I started going to level 1. I'm like, crap, my wrist. I'm orthodontist. I need my hands. And then I went to level 2 and I'm like, that stupid bike in the trailer, I'm throwing it out and get a new one. So, that was level 2. And then, level 3, I went beyond that because I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to just stay positive because I'm thinking, I don't know what's wrong. I assume they were broken, but I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to wait till I get x-rays. And then I've been a higher level ever since. I'm looking for like reasoning behind it, right? Like a higher level. There's level 6 and 7. And I was more so in like a level 7 trying to understand the deeper reasoning of why I had to experience this, because I believe that everything is a reason, right? So for me, level 7 thinking is trying to tap in to understanding the deeper meaning of why I went through this, because there's a reason for it. So I went through all the levels of energy, like we do with everything. That's how I broke my wrist. Thanks for asking, though.
I hope you're okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, actually, I had great news. They're small bones. They said they'll be healed. In 3 weeks, I should be able to start taking these. I mean, these are removable, so I can still take them off, but I can start taking them off more. So that's great, because I thought I was going to have this hard cast for like 6 weeks. So it was great news.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good.
All right, perfect. The next week, we're going to see you guys on Sunday, and we're going to talk about level 3. So make sure you complete those assignments for level 3.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. It's good seeing you guys.
You too.
You too.
I hope you enjoy listening to the group coaching session. And I also hope that you are able to learn something that would help strengthen the relationship between you and your teenager. Until next time, this is a teen's perspective, helping parents see the future. Today's episode is brought to you by the Life Scholars Academy, where teenagers reach their full potential. At the Life Scholars Academy, teenagers and young adults experience life coaching and personal development as they pursue their goals. If you are ready for your teenager to experience higher levels of success and happiness, then join the Life Scholars Academy. You may sign up at www.lifescholarsacademy.com.